All right, this is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and we are back with another Raid Shadow Legends free-to-play mystery shard only run. Today we're going to be talking about uncommon heroes. Yes, all of the greens that everyone loves. I know sometimes, you start the game and you don't have a lot of heroes, so who do you use? Well, there's a few uncommons that are useful, and you can get them built up and use them all the way through, at least mid-game. And Zephyr Sniper is first on that list. So today we're going to be talking about all of them. So, what does Zephyr do? Zephyr is a tank. She is awesome for Spider 15 to get you through, and even some of the other spiders that are earlier. You can use her in a few of the other spiders as a secondary tank once you get into the higher levels, but that's only until you get someone like Akoth or an extra person who can do HP burns and kind of blast your way through it. So, what do we use her for? Well, we use her to heal and get hit to the face with little baby spiders. So the little baby spiders just keep hitting her in her dumb face, and she never dies. So that's what we want to use her for. Now, mine's built a little bit stronger than yours, probably will be once you get to stage 15, but that's probably going to be the case for most of my heroes at this point if you've just started. So let's look at her. She's got all the lifesteal gear on. Skills. She basically attacks all enemies and has a 15% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on each target by 1 turn. So essentially, every single turn, she's going to attack every enemy and heal back up. See? Perfect. So she doesn't ever die. Heal, you can get rid of this. It's garbage. It really doesn't heal much, and honestly, I don't think it's ever saved me. It's basically just there to be there. I would just turn it off in the AI and go with just her A1. Masteries, we did do a basic build. She went all the way down to War Master and then some more defensive stuff to make sure she doesn't die, have some counterattacks, things like that. Total stats as of right now are 28,000 HP. She's got 4,600 defense. She's got, what does she have? 188 speed. I would get that over 200 for later on, but for this and 15, it's fine. She has a little bit of crit damage, a little bit of crit rate, not really important. She still heals up. She has very low HP because she needs to be the lowest HP hero on your team in order to make sure that she does not die. That she gets targeted. Not that she doesn't die. You don't want her to die either, but she needs to be targeted. So the lowest HP hero is going to get targeted, and she's the one that you want to get targeted. Resistance is very important. You want to make sure she doesn't get any poisons. So having a high resistance is good. We have her at 242. Accuracy is useless in this hero. She has no accuracy skills other than the reducing of skills turns, and you don't need it. So who cares? All right, so that's what we use her for. Let's go see her in action. All right, we're going to go into Spider 15 dungeons. Now, I've tried this a few times, and apparently my other team was having issues because I re-geared one of the heroes. So we're going to try it with a little bit of a different team. This is the team we've got right now, team setup. We're going to pull her out, pull this girl out here. All right, take her out. We're going to bring in our girl right there for some speed, and then we are going to pull in, where's the other one? Who was it? Oh, yeah, my girl, Crimson Slayer. Now we go in here, and we make sure that Crimson Slayer is using Flowing Sword all the time, first choice, for every round. All right, that's the main thing, is you want to make sure that they all are using any of their turn meter skills that drop turn meter. That's it. That's going to be their first choice for every single round. Spirit Host doesn't matter. Zephyr doesn't matter. Armager doesn't matter, and Haikatoon doesn't really matter. All right, now Armager, you can leave for now. Eventually, you may want to take later rest off. It's possible if you're having turn meter issues. I would leave it off, and then Zephyr, I would just turn this off because, like I said, it's useless. So there we go. Start, and now we have the speed and we have turn meter reduction. Let's go. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see how this team kind of holds up. So Haikatoon, everyone gets in the beginning. She's really good for turn meter reduction and keeping everyone sped up. She can heal herself, which is nice. You don't have her die, which is also good. She is Spirit Affinity, which makes this fight a lot easier. But as you can see, they are targeting Zephyr. And luckily for us, Haikatoon will keep healing herself, so it doesn't really matter. Hopefully the other two heroes that do turn meter reduction are going to be enough to keep the turn meter down low enough, say boom, to make sure that we're not getting any extra spider attacks that we don't need. We need to basically do enough damage where we need to do enough damage where we can out damage the heal. All right. Now, I believe this team is good enough to just continually fight. See, that was a miss on the turn meter for Armager. Armager, we're going to talk about in a second, but at least you get to see him in action here as well, and that's really nice. But really, the focus on this specific fight is Zephyr. See, she just resists. She got 1 poison. Even at 242, she's getting poison. We got the decreased turn meter that time. Now we've got more decreased turn meter from Mrs. What's-Her-Face. But as you can see, they're getting her down pretty quickly. This is a really good team to get this fight beat. I did use Soulbond Boyer in here for the beginning. She kept dying, and it's really annoying because she doesn't have a lot of HP. If you give her enough HP, it won't be a problem. But right now, it looks like Haikatun is your better option here to make sure that this fight goes a lot smoother. Keep her in the lead so that you're getting 19% more speed. Everyone's going to get more than enough attacks before the little baby spiders go. And then, boom, your team is a winner. Look at that. Look at all of this. Only one epic, and everyone gets her in the first month. Everyone else in here is easy to get. Spirit Host you can farm. Crimson Slayer, I think everyone gets on their main account. And then Haikatun, obviously, like I said, you get her in the first month. Boom, look at that. 1 minute and 49 seconds. Easy to acquire team that everyone can get, basically. And there you go. Zephyr is on that team, and she's your tank. So if you want to see a more in-depth look of Zephyr, remember, I do have Champion Spotlight videos. You can go back into my playlist for Champion Hero Spotlights, and you can see a video on her. So let's go look at Armager. You just saw him in action already, so he's good. All right, now Armager, on the other hand, is good for almost anything. Like he's a monster. He's really good for almost any content that requires a boss that needs to be killed and that needs to have their turn meter reduced, as you just saw with the spider. You can bring him in there. Now, it's for me specifically, it really helps to have him in a regen set because he doesn't heal. He literally just reduces turn meter, and you don't want him to get killed. All right, you want him to be kind of self-sustaining. So I put him in a regen set. He does have a lot of defense on him, I believe. Actually, has a crit rate because he needs crit rate to increase turn meter. So crit rate is important on him. Please get it high. We do have him in a defense chest. We have him in a speed boot. We want to get him up there as high as we can. He's got a defense ring. He's got a defense amulet. And he's got an HP banner. Banner, you could do whatever you want. Honestly, accuracy is good for his turn meter reduction, or you could put him in resist, depending on what stats you have and which set you put on him. We also put him in the perception set so that we can get a little more accuracy and a little more speed out of him. This is not the best set in the world that I have built here. As you can see, I have a lot of green pieces, but it works. It's good enough. And so far, I will be rebuilding him, but as of right this second, this set works just fine. I mean, it works just good enough as it is, and I haven't had any need to rebuild him for any content that I've brought him into. His skills, like I said, he decreased turn meter by 30% if it's critical, so obviously you want crit. And then this is the strongest hit from an uncommon, basically. He's like the nut of uncommons is basically what he is. Okay, he also has a block revive, which is nice because this is based on enemy max HP. So the higher HP that the enemy you're facing has, the more damage he's going to do. I have seen him do on mine specific account somewhere around 3 to 500,000 damage on one of the high end spiders. I've seen him in videos do over 1 million damage. So you can build him to be way better than what I have. Tons of defense because my defense is trash right now. I mean, his defense is 2,800. All right, you could easily. I mean, you saw my Zephyr. You could easily get him up to a lot higher defense. It would just require you to farm some regen gear and get him, a nice little 60% chest and possibly some gear with some crit rate on it, so you could put a 60% defense glove on him. And I think that would push you up into that 4,000 plus range, and you'd be good to go. All right, just don't slack on accuracy, resistance, and crit rate. Crit damage, not so much as important until you get better gear, but crit rate is the important thing because that's how he's going to get that turn meter reduction. Now, we just showed him in Spider. I don't think it's really important that we go back in there, but let's see. Where else do we use him? We can use him in Fire Knight, I believe we used him. So we'll go there. And any of the heroes in here that we fight. Let's just look. We'll go to stage 15 for now. We'll keep it on easy modes for right now. You can use a lot of these heroes in 20, but I don't want this to be the longest fight ever, okay? Oh, here we go. Fire Knight 17. This is the team we use. Boom, done. All right, so we do use this team to get through it. Everybody in here can do turn meter manipulation, and the whole point here is that you want to make sure that nobody dies. Now, if you don't have Valerie and you've been playing for a while, or you do have Valerie and you've been playing for a while, you can put in Syl here, and that would work just fine. So let's go in. You want defense on your main lead because you don't want anyone to die. Now, the reason we put Valerie in here is because the ads in this fight for the Auto 15 are a little rough, okay? They can do a ton of damage, and they'll kill your heroes. Now, there's no Reviver in here, so you can't have that happen. So basically, Valerie's in a bolster set. Make sure you have like a bunch of shields, so that way nobody gets killed. Everyone's going to not die. You got some freezes going on in here. It's really annoying. This keeps you alive, and then Valerie can do some healing. Apothecary can pop up anyone who's really low, and that just gets you to the boss. Because the boss is the easy part of this fight, surprisingly enough. Gets a lot harder in the actual walkthrough of it. But this is fun. Like, you get to see how uncommon heroes can help you in common ways. It's like almost every single dungeon in here can be used with uncommons. I mean, you could probably bring in, there's a bunch of uncommons on this list that you could bring in to do the auto 15s if you're spending your time on your heroes. If you're kind of all over the place and you've been summoning, every single shard you've got, and you've got maybe like, 100 plus heroes that you're working on, yeah, you're going to have trouble with these fights because you're going to have a bunch of half-ass heroes, and yeah, they don't work. So you want to make sure you're building your heroes one at a time. I've said this many times, and I will say it again now. Build your heroes as much as you possibly can. Look at this. See, this is where that shield comes in handy, all right? And she's got lifesteal, and so does Crimson, so they can heal themselves back up very easily, and then Apothecary can do the extra work. And then you've got Valerie, who can do that. See, keep you healed up, and then he comes right back in and keeps her nice and safe. But yeah, this was definitely a problem in the beginning. We were getting killed in the waves, and then nobody was alive to fight the boss. Now, the boss itself really just depends on when you get the cycle started. So, and where your heroes are with their skills. See, Apothecary doing that was perfect. He hit a 3-hitter on his A1. What's his name? Armager will always use his turn meter reduction on this. If you have a person who can do speed down, that would be helpful in this fight because unfortunately this guy is fast. Usually on the second round like this, you'll get more turn meter reduction, but a speed down definitely helps to keep that turn meter low because then his speed's going to be lower and you're going to be reducing his turn meter. There you go, flowing sword. It's possible that this team could conceivably hold his turn meter to 0 and he'll never get another shot now. So it's as long as they have high accuracy. If you guys have low accuracy, you're going to miss a lot of these turns and you're going to end up saying he just missed right there. So you want to make sure you have as much as you can. They can still win even if the shield goes back up. It's not the end of the world. It just means that you don't have to worry about healing so much. And that's really where Valerie comes in. The reason we would switch in Syl is because she heals every single round and she can revive. So even if someone dies, it doesn't really matter. And she has an AoE stun, so that's basically going to stun the waves. You don't have to worry about them attacking you as much so you don't die. And she's got speed down. I also have a, what is that? Smite on her. So yeah, it's much better to have her for speed down on the boss. But Valerie works just as good as long as you have the shield set on her. You can get through this without worrying about it. All right. So look at this. Uncommon heroes. Once again, uncommon man doing very, very, very rare things. It's funny. I'm watching this like now. Like I remember beating this like so long ago, and I was like, "Oh my god, we finally won on auto." But there you go. Look at that, Armager. Yeah, Armager's in here, and he's honestly part of the reason that this team won. If I took him out, this team probably would have lost. It's possible. He constantly dropped turn meter. That's what he does. These guys have very long skill cooldowns for their turn meter reduction. So basically, he's your turn meter specialist, and then these two are there just to kind of keep it down. Like she'll keep it down, and then she'll come in with her main hit and deplete the turn meter to 0, basically. And then you just keep these two kind of pushing. Armager is really doing all the turn meter reduction for this fight. So yeah, uncommon baby. Armager can rock your world in Fire Knight. He's good for everything. He's good in Doom Tower. He's good everywhere. So don't think that that was the only place. I'm just showing them off in one spot particular for each hero. If I can, let's see. We've got Outrider. This guy is so this guy's not necessary to build. I would say that Zephyr and Armager were necessary to my account to progress and until I got better heroes. But Outrider wasn't necessary, but he's good in the beginning if you're missing a destroy HP hero and if you need a really good nuker. He can be that nuker. All right. Now I don't have him built perfectly right now. His attack is a little bit low for what I want. He's got almost 4,000. I'd rather him be somewhere in the 45 to 5,000 range, and we would like to get his crit damage up. He's only at 89. Very low HP, so you're going to need something to keep him alive if you're going to use him. So you need a good healer. His defense is very low. Obviously, he's uncommon. Accuracy, you only need if you're looking to do the defense down. It's not really that important. I would just use him as a straight up damage dealer, and that's it. But other than that, yeah, he's great. We've got him with a A1 that does a 30% chance of decreasing defense. So like I said, you want some accuracy on there if you want to use it. This is the big one. He does one enemy destroys max HP by 15% of damage dealt. You are going to be amazed when you see the damage this guy does on a single target hit. Like it's ridiculous. He actually can outdamage like rare and epics and even some legendaries. Like that's how good he is if you build him correctly. Like I said, mine's a little bit low built because he was one of the early heroes I built, and I haven't rebuilt him since then. I think once we build him, he'll be great. He's got an attack on all enemies. Literally, that's all it does is hit everybody. All right. Now we've got him in Destroy HP because we specifically use him for the Scarab King in Doom Tower. It was an early game build that gets us through, so we use him. We use Jizzo. We use who's the other guy? Odachi. We use someone else. We use Apothecary in there, I believe, or Valerie. And then there's another one. Oh, yeah, Dark Elhain. So those are the ones that we use for Scarab. It gets us through. We've beaten all the new tower normals, so that's fine. All right, so now he's going to be good for some stuff. All right, masteries, we actually go down to War Master, and he does, some accuracy stuff, things like that. I don't know if we showed Armager, but he's more accuracy based and War Master. So just in case I didn't show that, you want to know how to do it, you can pause it right here. So yeah, he's more accuracy based and some HP and stuff like that. So yeah, we want to make sure he can do as much damage as possible in the shortest amount of time. We do have a crit rate glove. We have an attack chest, and we have a speed boot. And then he's got attack on his ring. He's got attack here. You want crit damage on this more than likely later on. I might even have one that I can build. Probably right here. No. Do I have one? Do I have one? Do I have one? I don't. All right, doesn't matter. So, and then we've got attack on his banner. That you could go either way. You could do accuracy, you could do resist if you want him to not get stunned, or just stick with attack and just give him as much attack as possible and get him to blow stuff up. I mean, that's kind of how it works, right? So we're going to test him out in another dungeon. We're going to be doing dungeon stuff today. Let's go to stage 15 because that's where we're going. Boom. All right, so now this is a team that I was using for Dragon recently, but since we're trying to show early game, right? I don't know if I have I don't have a Dragon team. So we're going to take Syl out and him out, all right? We're going to put our real team in, which is this boy. So we want that defense, all right? We've got a nuker. We could bring Valerie in. She's very valuable, but we're not going to because this is a test run. So now we're going to bring him in as another damage dealer and see where it goes. If this doesn't work, we'll bring Valerie in as a replacement for Spirit Host. We'll see how it goes. Really, Valerie is better for areas where your team is suffering from defense, and Spirit Host is better for areas where you're not suffering. Look at that. Dude just did 25k, and he's not even built right. I love him. Love him. I want to see his single target attack. That's where you're gonna see him do some damage. Look. Oh, 23k, that was it? It's because that's right, because it's based on max HP. I forgot that whole destroy HP. I don't know. It's based on something. But either way, I've seen him do at least like 60 something K, but 20,000. Actually, we're on 15. Let's see what the other guys do. So they're doing 1,000. Let's see what she does. So that's on par. 20,000. That's on par for where we're at, I guess. Kale's doing about the same on his AoE. So actually, we're good. Everything's fine. Now, this is the only problem here is that you got these jerks. So later on, when you have heroes that can remove buffs, like Totem, like Arbiter, people like that, you'll bring them in here instead. But now we can actually kill this dude. I'm just curious to see how much damage he does. Decreasing turn meter is always fun. Dead. But like I said, this is more of a not specific. We use him in Scarab, but he's not the best of the best. This is just to show you, there you go, 32 plus 12. So he did almost 50, 45, 50,000 there on a hit. And there's no attack up. Is there attack up? There is. So he's doing damage. There you go. Kale does 34 plus 12. He did 38 plus he has the War Master. So he actually just out damaged Kale's main hit. Now remember, Kale is built more defensively because we want him to do more damage from his poisons. So that's why he's not doing as much damage. But as you can see, even now, with a really good Kale who does his job, look at that, 38,000 he just did. And he didn't even get a War Master proc. So he did half the damage of Kale, essentially. And that's because Kale likes to poison everyone and does really good AoEs. So he's not amazing right now. I told you he's not built correctly. But yeah, you throw some crit damage on him, he can rival Kale. All right. I think I've seen him do, even in early game, I've seen him do like 63 to 80,000 damage when he was built specifically for damage. We use him for Scarab, so he needs to be a little more defensive with a little more resist, and he needs to also not die. So we actually added a little bit of HP to him because he was really low HP. I had all attack on him. It was fun to see the numbers he was putting up, but yeah. So I would bring him in with someone like Valerie if you did build him correctly, and he's going to be awesome. Early game, he's great. I mean, even now, if you put him in lifesteal and use him for campaign, he would get you through campaign with a 3-star. Basically all the way through brutal if you built him all the way up. But there's better heroes than him. Obviously, this is just to showcase that you can do it with uncommons, not to say that they are the best version of anything that you can do. So please don't leave a comment and say things like that because we all know it's not true. All right, so that's that. Now we're going to go with some heroes that I don't have built yet, but that are good. So this guy, Conscript. I hated him, but he actually is a very good single target hero. He does really well in my faction wars. I actually brought him in instead of like other heroes like Life Taker or whatever her name is. Like Some of the heroes just don't do a lot of damage in the Shadowkin faction, so we are going to be building him up. So I will be doing a video on him eventually once we get him to 60. Boom, 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 boom. I got a big hat, baby. All right, so I don't know if that was country. So yeah, country Shadowkin. But he is actually, I made fun of him for a long time. Surprisingly enough, he does really good damage. Now his skills are simple. He does one attack 2 times, and he has a single target and places a weaken. Good for bosses. Good for doing really single target damage. I have hiccups. There's a dwarf guy. I don't. It's not penetrator. It's the other one. Uh, who does single target damage, and I thought he was going to be dumb. Also, this guy is basically the Shadowkin version of that dwarf, and yeah, he's awesome. I love him. I would say you could build him as an early game version to get you through some of the Shadowkin factions, and you wouldn't be disappointed. He'll take out that one target that's annoying you. All right, and that's actually probably better than having a crap hero that does no damage. All right. We didn't do any masteries. Skills are maxed, and that's basically it. But yeah, we've got him into some attack stuff and some speed, and we'll see what he does. I'm not going to bring him into any fights. Like I said, he doesn't really do much. Shadowkin isn't open, but this is just to show you a couple other heroes on the uncommon list. Shield Guard, very good hero if you put him in lifesteal. The only reason we haven't built him is because he is a party favor hero. That is what I call him. Can you use him for farming? Yes. Can you use him in dungeons and you'll win with him just soloing it? Yes. Can you do all those things? Yes. All those things are possible. Get him to level 60, get him his good masteries. I'm sure you can see you would want him to be more of a lifesteal kind of campaign farmer build so that he can sustain himself. He has a great skill set. He does attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing decreased speed, which is nice, and it's all proportional to defense, so defense is good. He attacks all enemies and he fills his champion's turn meter on each critical hit. So you're going to want to put crit damage on him. And he removes one debuff from this champion each turn, which is very nice. You could kind of compound that with not the blessing, with the chance to remove a debuff mastery. And yeah, he'll basically just keep taking things off of him every single turn. So he won't get stunned, really. He won't get frozen. I mean, he will, but it won't happen often. He can remove them all and he'll just heal himself back up if you put him in lifesteal and he beats everything. But funny thing is there's plenty of other heroes that can do more damage. He just doesn't die and kills things. So don't think that this guy's going to be your answer to everything. He's just an early game answer, and he's fun to play with. And if you build him really high, you can use him, and that's fine. That's it. I wouldn't choose him over other heroes that do basically what he does and better, but he's not bad, and you can use him. That's it. And that's the best part of it, right? You don't care about any of the other stuff. So that's a good early game hero that you can build. Now, as far as the index goes, there's not many out here that are really great. Let's look. Archer is whatever. She's not bad. She's not good. Stalwart is whatever. I don't think there's anyone really in this faction that I would choose to use. Fireblade isn't terrible, I don't think, as an early game player. She has a decreased attack, and she does attack one enemy 3 times, so you could use her in even Clan Boss with poison, or you could use her for Fire Knight, so that's a double build. So you can use her. I wouldn't be upset with someone building Fireblade, and I probably will build her eventually. She would be first on my list. Then you've got High Elves. There's really not much in here except Elfguard. She has a decreased attack on her A1, and she has a turn meter reduction, so she could be used as one of the heroes in place of like Crimson Slayer. And she has it's a 2-turn cooldown on it. So once you book her, which is these guys are easy to book, you can farm them and buy them from shops. So yeah, you could use her for early game turn meter manipulation. Her and Armager would be really good for that if you want to use them in Fire Knight or Spider early game. You could use them. Just make sure that they have lifesteal and that they have more HP than Zephyr. So they just need enough HP to kind of get through, probably somewhere between 30 and 40,000, and keep your Zephyr around 28,000. That seems to be the sweet spot, is 28K. All right, let's get out of there. Let's look in here. As far as in here, Drill Master sucks. This guy sucks. Outlaw Monk is really good for early game Clan Boss. I've seen people use 2 of this guy in Clan Boss and just keep poisoning the crap out of the boss. But if you have Crimson Slayer, not Crimson Slayer, Frozen Banshee and Grave Chill Killer, yeah, you don't need them. You would just use those 2 because they have defense down and all the other stuff. But he just does a chance of granting an extra turn, which is nice. He'll keep attacking, and then that'll get you another turnover, and you'll get this to 3 turns where he poisons 2 5% poisons on the target. So these guys could do really well early game. I'm not going to say build them to the end game, but yeah, for the first month, unless you're really suffering, yeah, you could bring them in. And here, Crusader is really good. He has a ally attack, so he attacks one enemy 2 times, and he has this where he attacks with a random ally. Good for the thing is with this is that it's on a 2-turn cooldown once you get it built. So basically, every other turn he's going to be attacking with someone else. So if you have a couple heroes that are really strong A1s, or have like an A1 that has 3 hits, things like that, This becomes very useful very quickly if he gets the right person. So a little more random based, but still very useful to have attack with other heroes. And he kind of badass looking, very Dark Soulsy. He's like a Sun Bro, except dark. He's like the Dark Knights in Dark Souls. I like him. But yeah, he was definitely someone that I would build. You do get him for free right in the beginning of the game. And obviously Armager, we already talked about. So yeah, that's where we're at there. All right, let's go into the next one. Barbarians. Barbarians basically has. Remember, these are all honorable mentions, the ones that I've seen. If you have one, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't have a problem with that. Outrider, we talked about. Shield Guard, we did talk about. Outlander, actually, I think is not terrible. He attacks 2 times and attacks all enemies. So, and he does a decreased turn meter. So, this guy could be used as an early game person if you don't have anyone else. He's great for a nuking. He's good for turn meter manipulation. So, remember, I wouldn't build these over anyone else. We want to make sure that nobody here is thinking that I'm telling you that you should build these guys. I'm saying that build them if you have no one else in the beginning. That's all I'm saying. Ogre and tribes. So in here, most of these guys kind of suck. I wouldn't really recommend building any of them. So let's just get out of there. Lizard Man has actually a few. Saurus can be a campaign farmer. He has an A1 that attacks all enemies, which is great. And he attacks all enemies 2 times and has a 10% chance of placing a heal reduction for 1 turn. And he also places a 50% heal reduction debuff if the target's current HP is less or equal to 40. So it doesn't really matter. Just build them out in lifesteal. Attacks all enemies. Turn this garbage off. Really, it was attacks all enemies. Oh, attacks all enemies. So actually, this is all. You can just leave it on. So he just keeps attacking all enemies. That's it. Put him in lifesteal, and he can be a campaign farmer. I've heard he's one of the best campaign farmers you can get as long as you build him correctly. Yeah, that's it. And he looks kind of cute, right? With his little eyeballs. He's like, all right. That's the kind of noise I would assume he'd make. There you go. All right. I wouldn't really push too hard on any of the other heroes. This is, like I said, this is just the ones that matter. Did we do? We did Lizardman. Skinwalkers. There is one Satyr. He's got. He attacks one enemy. He has a 25% chance of placing decreased speed, which is awesome for bosses. And then he attacks 4 times at random. Great for Fire Knight. So you could use him in Fire Knight. You can use him in a lot of places. This guy honestly could be used even late game. I've seen videos of him. I haven't built him personally, but yeah, I would say he's worth building early game for Fire Knight. If you just need someone, I would throw him in a bunch of HP gear and just keep him leveled to like 40 so he doesn't die. Give him as much HP and defense as you possibly can. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if he crits or does any damage at all. We just need him to hit 4 times to get that shield down. Especially if you don't have anyone who does an A1, like someone like Crimson Slayer who has a hit 3 times on their A1. This guy can help you get through that fight and build up his thing to just get to that cooldown. That's all you need is that cooldown. Get it to 3 turns so that he does more of this A2. That's really it. And then use him for Fire Knight. This is all early game stuff. Remember, we're going to say it again. Orcs. I don't think anyone in here is really good. War Chanter, I think, has had some use, right? He's got a stun, and he attacks all enemies, decreased attack debuff for 1 turn, and he can provoke. So, yeah, he's a little bit of a wild card. Put him in HP, and yeah, I've seen him do some damage. You could probably build him. I actually don't hate him. I would actually consider building him once I finish my all rare situation. So we'll go from there. But yeah, he's not terrible. War Chanter, you could use him. Next ones. Here we go. We're almost there. Demon Spawn. So in here, there's not really much going on here. I'm not going to lie. They all kind of suck. I wouldn't build any of them, but that's me. We're going to skip them. Undead Hordes. I think we have not much going on here, too. Skelag, actually, I think he's a poisoner, right? Yeah, he's got a freeze debuff for 1 turn, and then he attacks all enemies, and he has a decreased accuracy. He's not terrible. You could use him, but he's not amazing. That freeze is pretty good. Can't go wrong with anyone who can, freeze somebody. You'd be surprised how much even a single target freeze can help you beat a fight, especially when you have a hero that does some crazy attack and you just freeze him over and over again, and then he never gets to do that attack and you win. So yeah, especially if somebody has like a counter attack for the whole team, things like that. Just freeze them. Problem solved. Crusader does poisons. He's not terrible. Attacks one enemy, and then he has an attack all enemy, and he places poison debuffs for 2 turns. They are the low version, but he is cool looking for early game, and you could use him. So don't skip out on that boy. Dark Elves, not much going on in here as far as I know. Yeah, well, you got Sniper, so there you go. She's really good. I've seen her kill my entire team in the arena early game. She does attack all enemies on her A2, right? Yeah, attacks all enemies 2 times, decrease speed, and she has this, which fills her turn meter, which is very nice. So she keeps getting attacked. So just speed her out, give her as much attack and crit damage and crit as you can give her, and yeah, she'll just keep killing everyone. And she's really freaking annoying. I remember getting killed by her hundreds of times. I hate her, but yeah, she's awesome. She's actually a really good hero. We actually didn't go into her. I have her in my vault. I forgot to bring her out. Oh well. So much for that. We go down here. No one in here would I use. I'm going to skip all of them. We don't like them all. All right. So dwarves. I don't think there's really any dwarves in here that I can remember that I liked. Nope, 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 nope. They all suck. We don't like dwarves here. Actual dwarves, like fantasy dwarves. Conscript, yep, he's the one. He's the one I just showed you. He's actually pretty good, so don't skip him. Infiltrator, I believe it's just poison, right? Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 2% poison debuff. I mean, it's there. Would I use him for clan boss if I had nothing else? Yes. But that other dude, the Bannerlord guy or whatever he was, that little poison dork. Yeah, I would use the poison dork over anyone else, not this guy. But yeah, he's not terrible. I wouldn't use him specifically for anything, but if you got no one else, go for it. And Sylvian Watchers. Well, the fun part is there are no uncommons in this, but yeah, I have all 4 of these. Actually, I have all 5 of these guys. I just can't use this one because, reasons. But all these are good, but they're not uncommon, so we don't care. Screw you, Sylvian Watchers. Make it uncommon. Get out of here. So, what have we learned today? We have learned that Mickey Mouse is a fraud. We have learned that sometimes oatmeal is delicious. We have learned that eggs and bacon can be very well paired with Swiss cheese sometimes. I would say ham is better with Swiss cheese, but bacon can be good with Swiss, all right? It is possible. Swiss by itself is disgusting, and I hope somebody's mad about that. Like if you just eat Swiss alone, it's so gross. But if you put it on ham, there's something about that combination that just makes me flourish. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but that's what I'm going with. But yeah, what we've really learned today is that uncommons can be fun, and they can get you through some content, and some of them even help me now. Like I said, Zephyr has helped me in beating Barbarian Crypt on the final level. She was in that team. She didn't die, and that's why I brought her along. We have Armager, who has basically helped me get through I can't even count how many bosses he gets me through. Like there's like probably like half the Doom Tower bosses, half the dungeons. We used him in Ice Golem to beat 21. Yeah, he's just an all around monster, and he gets better and better the higher the levels go because he does more damage. So he gets better the more you use him. So I haven't even seen the best of Armager yet. We will see that eventually. As far as Outrider, he's more of an early game nuker if you don't have anyone to help you get through and you need a Spirit Affinity nuker. He's great for that. He can take out those Force Affinity heroes with like ease. And yeah, you could just use him. And I use him in Scarab King. Now, still to this day, I use him. I mean, he dies, but he gets that shield down enough for Jizzo to kill him. So yeah, we do use him still to this day. So those 360s I still use right now, even having played for over a year. So don't think that these heroes are bad and that you're never going to get any use out of them. They all have a use eventually, and you never know when a hero is going to come in handy. You just never know. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, things you want to tell me about, you want to tell my brother how much I'm bad at this and how much I talk like a moron, go ahead, tell him, subscribe, like, all that. I don't care. My brother doesn't care if you subscribe, but I do. So you can tell him, but he may not. He may not care. He'll be like, you know what? I don't care if you subscribe or don't subscribe. He's like, I'm going back to eating my food. Leave me alone. All right. So yeah, leave comments. Tell me what uncommons you use, where you use them, how you use them, if you love them, if you hate them, even ones that you think are terrible. You can tell that too because it saves somebody from building them, and you can move on with your life. All right. So this is all the uncommons that I think are good and that you could, you can build and that I use personally. And this is Mobile Gamer Nerd. So you guys take care.